raising the capital to the extent they are now. And you start to see these moves, and you're in a fantasy scene. I mentioned this earlier on the program.
set. Overrides. Just using an apostrophe so it doesn't look so bad. No ownership there. All right, let's go ahead and grab ourselves a screenshot of this. And let's go ahead and paste that where it needs to be. Let's see if the screen flipped. No, it didn't. Didn't make it disappear. That's cool. Okay, hashtag ES pathing. Good. Where it needs to be. And we will let that sit and simmer for just a second. 28 billion people up here in the office. That's fine. It's getting better for a Friday. This summer, not everybody is on vacation yet. Close to it, but not everybody. Close to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. I think somebody said once. What else is there to say or do about the ES futures? That's mostly it. no tech rotation. If the SMH is green, if the Mag 7 is red, I wouldn't do it. If the SMH is red and the Mag 7 is green, I wouldn't do it. If both of them are red and continue to grow, then fine. Right now, what's going to make that so difficult? I mean, the Mag 7 ETF, brutal gap down yesterday. Asking for more on top of that, are you just going to fall off of a cliff and go to zero? And markets don't generally do that, right? There's some sort of a reprieve, counter trend bounce or whatever, oversold bounce. So I think it just might be asking a bit much for like major continuation here, but that's naturally what the trend pathing would say. As mentioned earlier, if this rallies, right, I would just look for rejections to here, and then we're just whatever in the balance range. If this is going to be constructive, I would just need to see a reclaim of that 28,740s, which looks like this. We're testing here, we're consolidating, we're continuing the oversold bounce, and this a lower high, right? This is 1 hour lower high. This is 1 hour / 4 hour lower high. Why would that be the case in the gap close? Why are we adding the 4 hour? Because remember, trends need to change for higher time frame lower highs to be firm. The hourly trend will not flip to up if we just reject here.
Analyze the first right here. Why I took it.
Higher low, make a higher high against previous day high. In which case, this would be a firm rally. Let's say firm here. So, right? What other pattern ideas are there? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
SPX was at the 425, 74.25 negative gamma level. With the negatives, it tends to
what that reminds me of?
The price is coming down. Dealers will continue selling at those levels because we did reject. We did reject at the top there, which looked like it was just a liquidity grab. That was the first sign. And then I noticed absorption here with the delta CVT here at this low on the NQ. My first entry was here at, what was it, 28,632 price. I mean, I missed all this. This was really nice. I mean, inside bars, just weak bull candles here. Look at these strong bears coming in. This was a massive bear here. Faked everyone out thinking sometimes this bottom wick sort of hammer looking usually fakes out a lot of these sellers. I mean, we're above a IB low level, pivots above here, and then a lot of buyers here got wrecked thinking we're going to go up. I thought too at first, but then I was like, the drawn liquidity has to be after it came back here, took out the low. When it took out the IB low, this is previous, yesterday's. This is yesterday's IB low level. I said the draw has to be this liquidity. Down here, the absorption. So looks like big players here came in. Big players absorbed. No, hold on. That's not right. Is that not absorption? Is it? Let me check this again. This looks like exhaustion. No, this was just exhaustion. Yeah, my mistake. So exhaustion here, another level here. Let's see. Get rid of this because this is my absorption. This is just exhaustion. So exhaustion is this, right? We got exhaustion here. Exhaustion here, exhaustion at the top. So we're in this range, and when it broke this, if it was here, figured all these buyers here are stuck. And that's why my drawn liquidity is down here to the downside. And I noticed the same on SPX. Because SPX is trying to target the IB low since NQ already broke through it. Pivots off this. Get my first entry here. I add on another. I just did an add on here. Took half of the position out, so secure half of the position took out, and then I tried to trail, but as you can see, we didn't get much out of this. I only got about 11 points. But if I just held it and didn't trail, which is my biggest problem, it's the fear. I don't know mentally. Look at that. Look at it. If you just held that, you would have gotten 47 points off of this move. It's 100, almost 200 ticks. 47 points versus only 11 points. So it doesn't matter if you're getting the right direction. If you can't hold, if you don't have diamond hands, you're not gonna, you're not gonna be surviving much longer in the game for the long run. I'm saying. Yeah. But analysis was figured it out. I mean, at first I was thinking we're going up. But look at this level. Look at these levels. Look at this high. This high was rejected the midpoint on the delta. Remember, the delta are aggressive participants. These players are stuck. Everyone up here is stuck. Buyers are stuck here. And we couldn't clear this level. You can't clear that level here. And we need more aggressive participants to take this level out before we can swing back to go up. And that's why we came down. But if I just held that would have been the trade of the day pre-open. I mean, if you can get this here at this entry and you can grab 50 points pre-market, no sweat, like no manipulation, no massive wicks. Take that every time. But now we're gonna have to wait another half hour here for open, and you're looking at until 10:30 before the IB forms. Once that new IB sets, then you can see new levels and start targeting a new bias for the day because there's no news. So, I mean, look at these markets. You don't need news. Well, yesterday was jobless claims yesterday. But I mean, look at this. Look at the rotation today. 237 point range. I mean, if you're looking at from from Tokyo, you're looking at from Tokyo here. 160 point range we're in from Tokyo. So Sydney, Tokyo session all the way to London here. That's our range. So this market does not need any news. It just if Trump tweets anything, this thing will go freaking berserk because it's just doesn't know how. Oh, look at this. We're still puking. I mean, we really could hit this and this. Yeah, look at this. Here's this is a nice liquidity grab here. This liquidity could grab here, grab this. We could grab this and then pivot all the way back up to the open. See how it reacts at this level. Once he traps that, see, I mean, wow, could have had all that. All this, this target, this. Oh, nice. If you could have held it, plus 50 tick. I mean, 50 plus 50 points on that setup.
Right out there.
Plenty of time before the weekend here to get another setup. So I just
Lay it on her. All right, Russ. Let's
get back to the
main walk. You can go to the 15-minute chart if you really want. You can see overnight notice the
market projections. Yeah.
goodness. Look at the break of a prior day's range over the 50 SMA. You can see the strength here versus the S&P and the Nasdaq, but am I jumping for joy to go out there and buy small caps with both hands? Probably not. What are the regional banks doing this morning? Let's take a look at this. Regional banks seem to be up, and how about our biotechs? These little crapcos moving higher. They're not so crappy when they produce a trend like looks like that, huh? But yeah, I mean they're just elevated in that range. So not too bad on the XBI and KRE. Alleyway Academic with 16 months up here in the
See if SPX hits the target.
Friday rules. That's right. We didn't even talk about Friday rules. But let's jump back into the small caps via the IWM with 9:09 on the clock. We'll get the job done here, headed into the 9:30 bell. All right, so small caps through the lens of IWM cash, 92.50.
So if you were trading SPX here, look, here's your targets. If you here's the gamma level. This is the negative gamma at 7425 at the 25. It's negative, so if the market's selling, dealers are gonna sell. They're gonna sell the futures to hedge. They're trying to stay delta neutral. Remember, so if this comes down here and you're joining this short here, I mean, you can go from here, the same level that we entered on Nasdaq, right? And then you can target this EMA. This is the low point. Just target that for your profit target. I mean, use that as a profit target. Either that or the yesterday's what is this? Yeah, yesterday's IB low. This is yesterday's low. Yesterday's IB, not the price low, the IB low. So either one of those, because at 9:30 we could get a massive swing.
Do we have some ability to sort of get up and out like that? Maybe. Look at where we're opening. It doesn't look like it's quite ready right now, but some kind of like midday drive or something of that nature, maybe after 10:30, that would be great considering that we have the 9:45 PMI report from S&P Global. Let's just keep a back pocket, open mind to that, right? So a little bit of patience here off the open on NVIDIA, but I do like the configuration of the daily with the inside bar. There is Thursday's range. Here is yesterday's range. Inside day, Brigade Bolt up and over previous day high, reclaim the 50, 210.20 is the number to watch. Moving forward to this Apple chart, what do we have going on with Apple? Not really interested in trading this. It's stair stepping lower for sure. Your backside, maybe not even backside. Look at the moving average stacks underneath us. You're pulling back. Let me frame it that way. I would love to just wait and see, like, do we get 315 on the higher low pullback? And if so, can we buy it at 315? So that's kind of where I'm looking on Apple. I don't want to get hung up on this or like whatever in here. If it goes sideways, renewed strength on the right hand side and then maybe over 329 in the future. But for now, show me lower to 315. Show me something that does that. I'm a little bit more interested. Jumping on over to Microsoft, just an absolutely tragic chart. Just when you think, wow, look at that. It's finally stepping back up. Not ready to break out yet, but not ready to break down either. Snapping back pre-market. So for me, not really interested in this. You're opening like it's already too far removed from the oversold bounce level. 380, if it wanted to give us a setup there and do something like that, sure. Look below and fail prior to low, long back to the 20 or something of that nature. It's possible. Earnings next week. Keep an open mind on that one. for now, an open that's here doesn't really offer me anything. I'm not going to short this in the middle of the range. I'm not going to long it in the middle of the range. Here you go. What do you say? It's Friday at 9:13. The kids should be outside playing by now. If they're inside looking at screens, I don't know. I'm not a parent yet, but maybe you're doing something wrong. It's July 24th. Unless it's thunder and lightning, in which case maybe they're playing a board game or coloring with crayons, trying to learn what we do. Go outside, kids. Go play in the dirt or something like that. But as we say, what do you not do? You don't exchange in the range, you don't enter in the center, and most importantly, you just don't diddle in the middle. You don't diddle in the middle. So I'll pass on Microsoft and move forward to Amazon. Amazon fake wick over here. This is what the bar should look like on the hourly side of things. Oversold, bounced off the 200, maybe. Look below and fail previous day low, snapped back up. That's the only thing I could see here. Other than that, not interested. Going over to Google, oversold bounce over here as well. The only thing I'm interested in, notice how it rejects the daily 200 yesterday, it rolls into the close, rolling off the same level in the pre-market session. So if we can look below and fail, maybe support 311s, undercut the previous day's low, come back up into range, maybe an oversold bounce, but that's it. That's kind of all we got going on over here. Have I ever considered Netflix and Nike? Yes, Netflix, no Nike. I don't want to trade shoes. I want to trade software technology, semiconductors, growth stocks. Nike is not a growth stock. It is a trash stock. I don't even like their shoes. I never wore their cleats in soccer. I don't necessarily like their clothing. I'm not a Nike hater, but I'm certainly a hater of this Nike chart. I mean, what is this? You want to trade this? My guess. Come on. What are we doing? Really? Really? I mean, come on. Pass. Let's jump on over. I mean, not to keep saying but Netflix? Really? What are we doing here? Why are we trading this? Sure, if you're shorting the crap out of it every day, then like be my guest. But this is garbage. This is absolute trash. Not even worth looking at. There's a reason it got booted from the core list of companies like as the first name. Where were we? We were on
Scuba suits for the Man Jones that were put on the company card were not approved by finance.
Well, they gotta have the scuba suits because they can't breathe underwater.
Sorry, they're still chasing down those receipts.
Should they be on the computer? Am I crazy, or should the receipts be on the computer? That's good.
it's like Nvidia, but there's nothing for me to do about it in this range. If it breaks out, well, if it doesn't, then good job. Let's jump on into Meta and see what's going on with the metaverse. Again, maybe an oversold bounce is the only thing I can see here. I don't like actually. Yeah, it's a little extended to the downside here in the short term. So I'll look below and fail of 600 that reclaims could be a long, but I'm more interested in a rally rejection of about 623.50. You mean to tell me you gap over the 200, then have a chance to higher low over the top of the range and then fail that? That's weak price action. That's garbage. That's sellers really stepping up. That's buyers vanishing. So show me a lower high under 623.50. That's probably short in my book. Going over this MU relative strength over here. I want to see the check back. Show me the higher low. I might be incredibly selfish wanting to see 900 and like lower prices again, another $100 lower, but it's what I want to see. Like if I'm going to get involved in this has been a pretty nice move off the dead low, but you got to check back and show me a higher low. I know it's done it overnight. We keep talking about it in the group. I know there's some overnight lows that are acting as the higher low for the inverted head and shoulder, right shoulder. I get it. But at the same time, like maybe it's too much of an old school belief. Maybe the markets have changed. Maybe the overnight liquidity is enough now to actually make meaningful moves. But throughout the dawn of time, it was always like, yeah, if it doesn't happen in the regular trading hour session, it doesn't matter. Basically, the only thing that matters is like an earnings gap up or a catalyst gap up or down or whatever. So I just don't. Maybe it's too old school of a thought, but show me the gap fill reversal off of 900, build the right shoulder in the regular hour session, and then go higher. Be a great case study if it just continues to go up from there. Be a great case study is like, okay, I guess times are changing. Where were we going from here? We're talking about the potential for a pullback. So underneath the previous bar low, look below and fail. The 50 SMA probably excites some longs. Let me go back down to an hourly chart here. So we're opening just a touch underneath this 980. So you could say this is going to excite some longs, a test to the 50 again, a little look below and fail back higher. I personally want to see this, right, is what I was just describing. That's my preferred outcome against 900 for a daily higher low check back, repair the structure. We'll see. We'll see if it actually wants to play that way. If it just continues higher, I think that's the most difficult situation to try to get involved in. Just, up from here, kind of tough. Let's go on over to this Tesla. Uh, Terrible, one of the worst out there right now. This may just get booted. The thing about Tesla is that the options market, to go back to that Netflix comment just a moment ago, Netflix was cool and it was trending higher. But then as soon as it started to trend lower and really give up its higher time frame trend, the options liquidity vanished. After the split, it got really tough to trade. Tesla has always had really deep and wide options markets, which is why it's such a key name to have on the core list of companies, because there's no problem, taking 100 contracts of whatever you want, whatever strike, whatever.
When I grow up,
Get in 100 contract, no problem. And you're off to the races. And if it's not 100, it's 50 or 25 or whatever the number is for your account, right? Do whatever. But there's liquidity here. It's okay to trade this thing and size it without being like, okay, is the spread going to rake me over the coals for 10%? No, Tesla, you can jump around in there. So it's really, this is a terrible look on the chart, but the options market is what makes it such a key stock in the core list. Anyways, back to technical analysis for this morning. Look below and fail, oversold bounce of previous day's low, rinse and repeat Google and Amazon, maybe, right? Let's jump on over to this JP Morgan and see what's going on over here. Looks like an all-time high breakout potentially up and into new all-time highs is bullish for financials, which keeps the rotation thesis alive. Let's go on over to this AMD, AM Dizzle. And what do we have over here? This is probably a new leader of the market. I shouldn't even say a new leader, but it's really going to establish dominance, I would think. And the reason being is just look at this daily. Look at this daily chart. I mean, how pretty is that, right? How pretty is that thing right there? So really nice. You get your higher low, overshoot, immediate reclaim of the daily 50, consolidating over the 20 inside bar, 3 days sideways at the top end of the balance range. Can you do it? Can you show me the love? Right? Oh. So AMD is got to be a top watch here over this 558.50 spot. Moving along to Intel, the big old Kramer disappointment. So please enjoy the fish, right? It's try the fish. It's the flip from Buddy Holly. But come back on after the show next week. We'll open up the submissions and then we'll go from there. Have yourself a green and fantastic trading day, everybody. Keep it green, keep it respectful. And as always, we will see you in the next one. And then go maybe inside today, potentially, and then go inside back up next week because I need target all this stuff to take out. So you see, it's been a little trickier. However, we want to see that higher low to come back through it. And if not, next month, we would have a better chance of going reversal month. So you see like a slight 2 down on the month here, then the 2 above that next month. So if we're above this month's highs next month, then we can start ripping back through these guys. And what you want to watch with that is you want to watch the dollar. Because right now the dollar, it's been strong. So here's your daily broadening information here. We want to see if we're going to get the gold to rip like we'd like to see it. We want the dollar, maybe they go slight higher highs to this stuff. And we want to come back all the way through it. It's like we zoom out. It's really big daily broadening information in the dollar. They're not out of this yet. So the fact that they're not out of it, they would retest it up in here. So you can see if we zoom back in, where would the broadening resistance be? It'd be right there. So it's above the previous highs. That's where we want to see them start rejecting that and then bring gold back in. But when that happens matters. Because what we want is we want to be below that month open, below the week open. Right? We want all that continuity in our favor. We just haven't had it yet. So we will see. Alex, the docs section of the site has been very helpful. We'll probably spend a little bit of time looking at those docs today. So I'm glad to hear that. IBM. Yeah, so there's something called exhaustion risk. So look at IBM, right? Do you see all these lower lows in here? The bottom of the broadening formation. So you call that a fixture risk or broadening risk. And you can think is when prices is going down, eventually everyone's short. And once everyone's short, that's the best time to reverse because bang, everyone has to get out. Now we want to time that with continuity ideally. But like we said, the fact that we have the pivot machine gun, we have the signal that kicks in, we have it all day. Sorry, and stop people out. We're nowhere near changing the month, right? That's not our goal with this. Our goal is to just go wham, take all these guys out on Friday. Kind of like that visa, right? And just mind those spreads, you don't have to put those guy in there. But XLF Financials does go 2 up today, so we'd prefer to see that go up higher today. Intel, so they did not open as that gap up. They opened pretty much flat, and then they go 2 down day. So Intel earnings comes out, sellers hit the bid. That's what they do. So below this, 99.24, that's momentum shooter Intel. Below 99.24, that's some issues. And that might bleed over into semis, which is starting the day off inside day down. Since we're inside week, that could rev strap, but if it's below this, it's full time for continuing down, 574.00 in the semis. If it's above it, you can see when it's green here, this is kind of rev strap, and it's still stuck in this week. So how are we getting out of that? SPY opens inside day, Qs opens inside day, Dow opens inside day, IWM opens gap up, and then Brett. That does matter because threes exist, right? So a little bit, looks like it's gonna be a little trickier start to the morning here, which is okay. Just have to disseminate some of these gaps here. For now, MasterCard though is green. And then Visa just slightly trying layouts. You can see on the oneer, slight tick down on Visa, and this is what you want to see if you're going to try and get into a gap up. Slight lower lows here, and then try and go and make those higher highs. Apple rev strat day up. Let's see. Yep, so Apple, you got the magnitude there. Momentum on the winners. Not excited about trading today. That's okay. XOP went slightly below in green, so it's kicking back into full time from continuity on a Friday. Now it is 2 down day, so it's got to stay above that open. But energy's firm back up today after some profit taking yesterday. It's like the healthcares are all still pretty firm here. Yield goes red draft from the rounding formation, so that's something we'd like to know about as well for Lotto Friday. It's got to make to 132.85, and then potentially way up there at 140. All the healthcares are already going, so you have evidence there. Domino's Pizza also goes rev strat day. So MasterCard, Visa, Guild, and Domino's Pizza, they're all kicking it. Holy cannoli. What the hell? Why are you guys blowing up the chat, Sarah? What's going on? All right. SPY, you can see they're just such an inside day here, but they do firm up. So Q's firms up a little bit. Dow is, you can see 2 up, but red. So it's a little weaker than the Dow Jones. And IWM still gap up and sell there. So little bit of tech. And semis, yeah, semis is 2 down in green. So trying to go outside day in the semis, if that's green, it's pretty doji in here, but that's what they're trying to do. So we see a little bit of that being firmer, which means Intel, they did tick down, but they didn't stay down. They reclaimed. So if we zoom out on Intel, the broad information's here. So Intel with earnings, you're trying to go back through these guys to 108. That's if we can get a signal and force here. But you have like outside fiber hammer to the upside. You see the outside bar, they did tick it up, but then they come right back in. So it's a little bit tricky in there this morning. See. MasterCard did triangle out the morning, guys, and fill the very, very slight gap it had this morning. See, Intel, this is why it's these inside weeks are a lot tighter, it's harder to trade. They go 3-3. So fully wipes them out and re-breaks the day down, trying to change that week green to red. And semis also re-breaks the inside day down. So MasterCard Visa, they had the slight triangle layouts. That's what we wanted to see. And then financial, that slight triangle layouts to the outside. IBM is still T2 day and forced to the upside. Pivot machine gun style through these guys. And 5-minute momentum hammer, we prefer some triangle layout first. Stop some guys out of the fiber. As long as MasterCard is above 530.88, that's my major focus for getting some lottos in there on Friday. I'll be able to fill a little bit at the open, and then we'll see if that goes 3-1-2 fiber. 3-1-2 5-minute, 2-2 day, 3-2 week to the upside.
I know there are allergens out there, and I live with it, but I don't have them in my home. That's why I call.
Mastering yourself. You can conquer.
Another topic right here. We're going to see what's going to happen. The chicken is outside my. So none of the news today is a red letter event. So you can trade with TPT. The only one you cannot trade is FOMC posting, CPI, farm payroll. What's the name of the chicken? I don't have a name for this one. I think he's about to jump against the glass because chickens aren't that smart. Anyway, 28,500. Making a move. Just we've been left and right. Let's see. Yeah, it's really. Here we go. If we take out the 499, we'll have our 3C. And we're going to start playing down at 410. And we have a lot of pivots here as well. And look, I'm going to use my little drawing tool. We have pivot, we have pivot, we have pivot, we have pivot right here. So these green lines are all pivots. I have an indicator to copy and paste the full effect information for the trade line. Nice. Interesting to have. Good morning, Ramas. How you doing? Bazas, how you doing? Morning, good morning. Another move down, 500, reaching lower. We have another couple of points here. We have a whole bunch of supportive structure in this market. A whole bunch of supportive structure in this market. 485, 433, 482. If it starts to breach this, we come into the Mac Daddy of supports of 380. If you go and look at the S&P, we have a couple of pivots here too. We've got right here at 74.34, 74.18, 74.12, all from the past 24 to 48 hours. INTC is down almost 3%. They had earnings, so they're showing a pretty heavy move down. Pretty much, it seems all of so far the major names that matter on earnings this week have been down. Now, the question I ask: what happens next week? We have all mega cap earnings next week, along with everything. What happens next week if all those go through too? Is that the kind of pin in the balloon here? Start to move down for the seasonality, because typically we get some sort of bear reaction into August, September, October, the seasonality. And we'll see if that actually continues to play out. Yeah. So crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Killing it for us now. Killing it. Nice, Celsius. Well done. Very cool stuff. You see them first reaction into this 485. And once we come through 485, we're going to 466. No volume spikes, no bottom wick. We have data in 4 minutes. Options are back and forth. Call buying, call selling, put buying, put selling. Liquidity on the book map has not come back on the books yet. We're looking for 466. We're looking for 466. Boom. More red. Dropping back over, baby. Dropping back over. They're coming on down. We have 3Cs. We have our first confirmed 3C of the day, which is a short trigger into these supports. A lot of supports here. A lot of supports here. All selling, put buying, dropping back over. 8,460, looking for 440, 430. Let's go take a look at the S&P as well. I know a lot of traders are trading the S&P here, 74.66. Still range bound. And now the S&P has required a little bit more patience the past week or two than NASDAQ, because it loves to be a little bit tight. It's had a couple of great moves, but typically requires a little bit more patience, but it's also a little less stress too. So there's a trade-off there. S&P looks like it wants 42, which is only a couple of points down. NASDAQ is still dropping. We go take a look at gold as well. If at any point you see a high volume bottom, like, you know what to do. Gold is putting on a high volume move here. They're 50% of their range. Silver's coming off. Things is bouncing back up. Somebody made a post that prop firms are going to have to start to offering single stock futures, which sounds a little ridiculous, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. A futures product for a single stock. So basically you are speculating on the future price of an individual name. That's what a futures product is anyway. They're going to juice everything they can out of the retail trader. Full port video. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Do you ever see at 9:35 Eastern?
One more trade, Gideon.
I consider the opening. It's hard to do any kind of volume. It's almost impossible to do volume analysis on the first candle of the day, because it's always the high volume. So the first real 3C would have been the 9:35 Eastern time candle, top wick, lower low, and then breach lower. Of course, in the first 15 minutes, it's difficult to trade that anyway, because there's a lot of crazy moves, a lot of momentum as they do the shakeout. But overall, we do have a 3C trigger for the short side here. And we got 466 moving on down until we have a high volume bottom like that closes. Then that short trigger is going to maintain, especially we have data here in 1 minute. Be careful. Actually, we have data in 10 seconds. So it's the typical 9:45 S&P news. So we'll see what happens here in a couple of seconds. A little bit of green reaction so far. Call, selling, put, buying here. Call, selling, put, buying. How'd y'all make out yesterday? You did good? Anybody put on any banging trade yesterday? It's fantastic. Had a fantastic day yesterday. Signal of the day was the 3C bounce off of the weekly low levels. I know Mojo had his best day ever. Fantastic, man. Well done. So some massive wins. Y'all are killing it with the DMs, man. I love keeping coming. I've got a lot of good DMs the past couple of days. Love it. Small win AM. Nice. Well done. Good stuff. 33%. Nice Pine Beach stand. I love it. I love it. Still going. 28,466. Once we breach this, dropping down to 43. Beautiful, beautiful. There it is, 460. Now we're looking for 433. There's no long triggers here. We only have an active short trigger from the first 3 key of the day at 9:35, and now we're still coming down to 433. We have a whole bunch going on here. Coming down to yesterday's lows. Typically, you're looking for a strong bounce, at least a reactionary bounce, if not a full bounce. I mean, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but volume will be the first indication for a good wick or scalp wick off 433. We have one more data posting left that we care about, which is in 14 minutes. Be aware of that. Be aware. Have you done dispatch for Claude on your phone? I have not. I'm getting that set up. I'm kind of cautious to put that on my phone because I already have, I'm already addicted to it on my computer and I don't want it around with me everywhere. I do make a list of ideas though. All right, 28,450. We have a little volume uptick there. Overall, the volume is kind of shifting lower into the 9:46 time frame. No bottom wicks we're holding. We don't have any higher highs. If you switch to the 5 minute, 28,495 will be our trigger to look for a bounce. Call volume, put selling is back on the uptrend here. We already have one day to shake out. We have one more coming up in 13 minutes. We have no liquidity on the books. Book map is showing no outlier liquidity. Everything is small peanuts for now. Small peanuts. NASDAQ has 28,800. Very small lot though. There's only 70 lots sitting up there at 28,800. 340 points higher. Keep it on my PC. There you go. That's probably smart. Claude is so efficient, so effective, it actually can be a distraction in your personal life. 28,455, rolling back over. Call buying, put selling here. We have 400 million of calls purchased, 100 million of puts sold. It's not that much though. I want to see notional of over $1 billion to make that actionable. And I need a volume bottom way. With Claude, you can control it on your computer. Yeah, I saw that. You have to set up a remote, which may be useful. I don't want to be distracted. 24%. There's nothing on the hook. Still coming off. Let's take a look at the individual names. SpaceX getting wrecked now, almost to our $100 point. If you're new here to the server, we are waiting for SpaceX to come under 100, and we're going to start dollar cost averaging. If we get under 70, I'm going to the bank, baby. I'm getting out as much money as I can. If we go under 40, I'm selling the kids. Google, MU rocketing. I'm sorry, Amazon and Google. I saw two names. What was the other name? Google rocketing. SanDisk is getting wrecked. MU is getting wrecked. So there's only one thing. But Google very green this morning. Still holding. S&P divergence. Yeah, we do have a little bit of S&P. I think it's because of what we just saw. MU is just getting wrecked. There's actually a couple of names that are dropping steadily, and it's causing some weight. And this has been the name of the past 2 weeks. The description of the past 2 weeks has been discrepancy between the Nasdaq and the S&P. Man, strong call buying. Look at that. Call buying started upticking there at
I just missed the divergence.
2 million call. 200 million liquids sold.
I went long too early.
High 3C they lost.
Could have went long here. Yeah, I could have bought this one.
What do y'all think about the CME single stock futures? I think it's a terrible idea, but who knows? They're rolling out the products the past couple of years to give the retail the opportunity to give them your money, Single stock futures. Great. All right, I'm looking for volume here. We have 2 5-minute bottom links, which is a cumulative style price action. We do not have a higher high. They're defending right here at 28.5, so there's no long trigger yet. No long triggers here. Not yet. Don't see large red candles. Don't get tricked into longing yet. Not yet until we have a 3C trigger. Large red engulfing candle, quick large red engulfing candle with some of the highest volume is about to trickle into the highest volume point of the day. We just put in a new low. It took out yesterday's lows, and we are now in the meat and potatoes ballpark right here. 28,400. We need a higher high. I do not. Look at the channel. If you want to see the day trades, go look at the day trades channel. You can see the trades I posted there. $28,404. The S, nice sweeping top weight, 74.43. Up and down. Trying to get a follow-up trade each fall. No, what are y'all doing? It's almost shocking how light looks out there. That's okay. That's okay. Use in 9 minutes. Existing home sales here in 9 minutes. We're going to see what the housing market is going to pay here and how the market's going to react to. So far, this is now 2 steady red opens in the morning time. Steady red open followed by massive bottom links. Will they do the same thing again today? Steady downtrends here. Steady downtrends. No sign of buying whatsoever. No sign of buying whatsoever coming down. 28,364, 365. Still dropping. 3C trigger is still valid. We do not have a higher high. Everything is rolling big time. Into the main line of defense of the 340s. Everything is rolling. Small caps are rolling. Tech is rolling. ES is rolling. Oil back up. Coming to 368. Nasdaq is down 250 points from the close after being up big time right before the December close. 5-minute chart engulfing red. 275 is the baseline liquidity. Right here. Still dropping. Still active. 3C short trigger. We do not have any buying 3Cs whatsoever. Look on the 5-minute, it's all 3C short triggers after this. Down, down, down. We have volume coming down on this candle, high volume. All the way down. All the way down. Good coming up on monthly lows on Q. Yeah, this is a very spicy level. That's why this shaded green block is here to give me some situational awareness on exactly what's occurring in this level. This is phenomenal level. If you go out to the weekly, you see exactly what we're dealing with here. The June 8th weekly candle and the June monthly candle is all major liquidity. This is juicy liquidity. And this will also be last line of defense before we go into markdown. We'll be in a technical and a calling markdown phase below this level. Phase E of the Wyckoff down into 26,700 or 27,000 in my 11th. It's gonna be wild, man. It's gonna be wild. Next week we could kick it off. $28,275 is next liquidity. We are straight down on that. Straight down. Can't go buy the dip yet until you have any signs. Keep safe until you have a high volume 3C indication. Right here. I will buy the dip yet. No long triggers. It's only short trigger. We have one short trigger, 10:35 Eastern, all the way down. Remember what I said this morning is that these daily charts look like an absorption for lower. If it were a 5-minute chart, you'd be shorting all the way down. All the way down. 28,315 still coming down. There's no long side anything. It's all short side triggers here until you get a high below the bottom of that closes over the highs. Watch this one closely. $800 million goods sold, $212 million hauled off. I'm getting ready to go long after closing out short. I think this is where it's going to come here in the next couple of points. Be ready. Hold. I need a break part reference now. Hold. Let the volume come in. Be patient. I'm back to flat. I'm looking for a long position in this area. Looking for a long position right here in this area. Be patient. Hold. Some speeds are longer than others. Look for 20 points on EF, and NASDAQ to come back up to 410 or so. Right here. Be patient. Wait for it. When we get the V, could you explain the trigger for entry? 100%. I don't know if we're going to get a V today. You know, any long positions I'm playing right now, I'm simply going to speculate on the entry, and I'll shift my stop up as I see when structure break. But I don't know if we're going to get a V or not. This is the macro charts do not suggest a V recovery, although the markets have been Ving everything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the markets are not suggesting a V recovery. The macro environment looks down from here. However, I do think they're going to put on at least a small bounce, and I'm going to look to play it when I get the trigger, and I'll just move my stop up as I see fit and try to get something rolling here. 74. What is this? Second. 70. 30. 35. Nice day, baby. Nice day. Nice day. Welcome on the YouTube stream. I have my Quant Tower open now. See if I can catch something here too. You just got to be patient here. You got to be patient. There's a certain setup I'm liking to see here. There's a certain setup I'm liking to see.
Try for one more here. Look at Doji's on QQQ.
What's up, Laura? Brian?
One more here. Getting
yeah, I mean, this morning showed the sign, man. NASDAQ is deeply red. The S&P is not. The Rasky Green did play out this morning. The Rasky Green only applies to at or through the open. Because remember, the last hour of the day sets up for the morning open. Now, again, it's semantics at that point. I get it, but it didn't follow through very well. I'll give you that. But we did get a nice, 100-point pop there at the open. At the open. My goal here is to catch a long scalp, and then my guess is they are going to continue with the bear move after the bounce. That's just my thoughts. We'll see what happens. 10 a.m. reversal time. Yep, plus we have news. In 26 seconds, we have news. Actually, 15 seconds. 3-star event coming up top of the hour, right here. 5 seconds. Hands on the trigger, position size is set. Liquidity at 300. Right at pre-market low. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Still no higher highs on anything. On NASDAQ, at least, S&P on the bottom. Right there. Maybe they could have riffraff. Riffraff. Those are back in the 90s, man. You remember the George Bush things? Those things? Right here. Yeah, bottom link. It's a good morning so far, definitely. Definitely. Definitely a good morning so far. Right there. Do we get the 10 a.m. reversal? That is the question. Entry on the 5, correct. So 1 minute volume analysis, and then you confirm on the other time frames, the 5 and 15s. Right here. This is your indication. MU and Sandex are still coming down, but the NASDAQ needs to clear a higher high. That's the difficult part. That's the difficult part. I don't want. It's hard to see. Google's flying, Amazon, Tesla, Apple, all put on a bounce. And Nvidia is going, SpaceX is going. So we do have a small bounce across everything. NASDAQ is coming back up 390, looking for 410, 420 right here. Beautiful stuff. All of the tech is starting to put on a small bounce. NASDAQ is not catching up. Still trying to absorb the 3C upper higher high, which is right about this area. All are starting to pump again, but it's back and forth already. Right here. right here. A lot of liquidity up on the upside. Another rejection. Another rejection. Right there. 74.62, 1,000 lots sitting at 74.62 for the S&P. NASDAQ has their same respective level up at 28,462. 1,000 lots. A lot. A lot. So will they fill it? I don't know. I don't know. Right here. I don't know. Right here, 28,382. They shifted that liquidity down to 412. They're all over the place with that thing, man. They're all over the place. Right here. Right here. Locking in profits at an overnight high over DC ball. Nice, well done. Liquidity sweep to the bottom, consolidate right to the last. Heck yeah, man. Have you see my messages? I am, yes. I see you right there. I think they're going to sweep that 412. They're attacking it right there. There's 1,000 lots sitting there. Right here, bottom wick 28,400. What do you want to know about trades? I think Twizzy took some trades. Prague took some trades. Yeah, we're taking trades. I've learned on a day that I learned that trade like this correctly. I got to sit on my hands. Patience. I mean, 100% patience, obviously. I mean, like look at yesterday's session. Like we knew based on the options data, based on the liquidity, that they were going to put on a bounce yesterday. And I said late morning, early afternoon, they were going to put on a bounce. And NASDAQ freaking bounced almost 400 points. So the bounces come on days like today. You just got to be patient enough for the signs to line. Like fighting, you know, I haven't gotten, I knew we were going to bounce earlier. You know, we said that this is where we're going to lift along off the 300 mark. But to get the big, massive trades, I need that certain setup to present itself. And the problem is we're fighting two different things right now. The NASDAQ is fighting two different things. Number one, we have a massive divergence between ES and NASDAQ. ES is very bullish. NASDAQ is very bearish. It's not often we see that. We've been seeing a lot of it the past week and a half, 2 weeks, where we have a very red NASDAQ and a green ES. It's not often we have that, especially it's not often we have that so consistent, so prolonged. The second thing we're fighting is a macro bearish environment on the S&P, looking for a bounce in the short term here on the the 4 minute, 5 minute scale. So you have to correlate the long term macro thesis with the short term stuff.
Another entry here, targeting.
It's very easy to willy-nilly buy.
We are targeting liquidity map. Notice there's at 28,462 level. There's 1,000 lots, 1,000 contracts. I'm trying to target that liquidity. Grab that.
And a bearish trend. The slot trade is shorting the rates. Excuse me.
We were far extended extremes on standard deviation at the bottom here, so figured let's see, trail this. Well, I think I can take some off here.
28,404.
Take a half position off. Trail this.
I think
here's our target.
Yeah, I think
good liquidity. Massive contracts.
Still going here.
When you're gonna get there. I don't know if I can hold or not to get there here.
12 points higher.
The IB just set. I don't think we're gonna get there.
We still have call buying, put selling. That's the overall theme, although it's not a lot. The options data is not very big today. Yeah,
Yeah.
Discord.
Pick half off.
Know what happens if there's Discord outage?
Now that the IB is set. Let's find our value areas. We get value from IB.
Last time there was a Discord outage, market collapsed. Collapsed. Coming off
I
again.
saw that wick. Price is not ready to go there yet. This IB set here should be able to give us another entry.
I think we're gonna go down here. That's another top week, and the sellers are absorbing. Sellers are absorbing.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I trade the orb as well? I do not.
Massive absorption.
BPA style trader. 90% of my analysis comes from volume and price action. I use in some indicators like bookmap and options data to determine what I'm going to do. Nowhere to against. I'm going down. All right, still coming off your red candles. I do think we're going to come down here. After that, another move, we have another absorption, whether it be now or soon. Right here. Still dropping. Coming down.
So remember this 685 level here. This is a negative gamma.
I had a Discord out of my
Let's
internet.
see.
Didn't go out.
Where's the
Discord went
spot?
out. Weird. The Discord went up.
86.
I think we're back online here.
85. Massive negative. Massive negative. So if this market breaks below this, dealers may be forced to sell.
Just believe the count. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So we have another rollover here. Another one. ES is following this little wedge. Some people would identify that as a bearish wedge. NASDAQ is rolling back over again. And we're back and forth on the chop. Looking for follow-on. Looking for follow-on. Right here on the top. I know you don't call out gold, but your teachings always help me with gold. Like, you're welcome, buddy. Yeah, I mean, and gold's one of those things where sometimes it falls on my cross check simply because I have so much going on. But I do love trading gold. I had a lot of fun trading gold and silver back in December, January. I do enjoy trading it when it puts on good moves. I wish I had more arms. I need octopus arms. I'm no bear or bull, but I hate ranges. Yeah. I don't mind ranges if they're going up and down and respecting the highs and lows, but I don't like holding ranges at the bottom. To me, this looks like a bearish absorption for a low price into the 200s. This appears to be. The buyers cannot claim higher highs. The issue is that the ES did claim higher highs. So we have a bullish setup on the S&P and the bearish setup on the NASDAQ. For now, at least. Do you take into account the Qs bouncing off the bottom? So at the bottom of the range? I do, 100%. In fact, that's what this green block shaded, this shaded region, that's a macro shaded region. If you zoom out, that's coming from June lows.
Breaking away from value here.
Again, very standard. And once you take this out, coming on down. Oh, I don't track Bollinger Bands. I don't track Bollinger Bands. What's up, Bojo? How you doing, buddy? Hope you have a good follow-on day after yesterday. I'm a big believer in less is more. I used to be very critical of indicators, but I've come to realize that as long as you have a good handle on how you understand price action, you need to find whatever works for you in terms of identifying patterns. You've got two sides of trading in terms of what we do here. You've got actually reading price action and volume, and then you've got pattern-based indicators. Pattern-based indicators are everything: VWAP, EMAs, RSI, MACD, all that stuff is your job is using that to identify a pattern in the markets. So if you can blend the two to make money, cool, man. Cool. That's what worked for you. So different strokes for different folks. Could you explain absorption talk? Yes. So absorption comes in when a price action moves towards level. When a price action moves towards a level, whether it be a support or resistance, and then it sticks in that level for a prolonged period of time. In this case, buyers stop putting in higher highs. We have this base. This appears to be what's called a bearish triangle. A bearish triangle is where you have a descending top side and a flat bottom side. Absorption, where the buyers start to exhaust because they fail to put in higher highs, and then we break an absorption style. You may confuse that with a bearish, with a bullish, a bearish wedge. Right here. I'm sorry. I got my patterns myself. A bullish wedge, which is where you have both a descending and a descending top side and a descending lower side range. So that is a bullish wedge where the sellers are exhausting. The sellers can no longer put in lower lows. So this looks like an absorption move here where the bears are holding the low side and they're grinding up against the support that's hanging out at 28,300, and then finally it breaks, then it goes down. What's the difference between absorption and exhaustion? Exhaustion comes in if you're looking for a pivot. So in this case, if we have seller's exhaustion, I guess it depends on which side, because here you're going to have bullish exhaustion, which leads to downside. So I guess it depends on, where you're applying the exhaustion definition. Because we're seeing bullish exhaustion here where the buyers simply cannot overcome overcome. This is like round 6 or round 7 in Rocky 4. Well, Rocky just can't overcome Drago. You got to get around 14, man. Exhaustion. You're welcome, game balling. You're welcome. All right, another topic here. This should lead to a breach of 300.
At which point we're looking for maybe 220.
At which point we're looking for maybe 220.
They're doing that thing on Bookmap where they're chasing liquidity lower. If I can, I have 2 of them. I wish I could give you one. Nice. Nice.
Liquidity on Bookmap has gone from 74.65 to 74.60 to 74.50 now. So they're shifting it lower. You have no high volume bottom mix, and this should get us down into 200. Rocky's up here like a piece of iron. Yeah. In real life, Rocky would be pummeled into a chewed up piece of bubblegum. The movies are fun. Reaching lower, there we go. There's that exhaustion phase. On the bull side, absorption by the bears, and then down we go. From 300 on down. With volume. Beautiful stuff. You're welcome, Optin. You're welcome, buddy. I'm glad I can help. Fantastic, man. It's fantastic. Still going. Is 228 the next target? I would say about 220. Yeah, 200, 220s, somewhere there. Yeah, definitely. We're coming up on down to June monthly. This is a multi-month low. This is no.
So that's why these levels are so critical. These gamma levels. This is negative gamma exposure here, right? 685 on a Qs. And look what it did. Pivots here, the first one, it pivots. Bounces, it was just a retracement because still stayed below the previous day's IB low. So, and we're also below today's midpoint IB. So that we're bearish. And price comes back into this. Bears take it here, and look what happens. Dealers are forced to sell here. They're trying to hedge their positions, and it just with these negative levels, it just exaggerates these moves. So we're puking. We have just. I thought maybe we were gonna grab on NQ. We were gonna grab the 1,000 contracts, all that liquidity at 462 level, but it just faded it. I mean, here we go. We broke below the POC. We broke below value. Once break below both of those, that's confirmation to continue down. How low can we go? That's your question.
Very aggressive. The next time we touched it, it was not aggressive. In fact, we stuck here for 9 minutes. We stuck in this range. Instead of cleanly bouncing, we stuck here for 9 to 10 minutes. That looks like absorption where the buyers have completely failed to bring in a higher high and engage the price action. Remember, we're looking at candles, but the market is not candle. The market is actually buys and sells. It's order flow. So understanding the translation between the candle and candle. If the candles are stuck to the low side of the range, the buyers aren't buying. And if the buyers aren't buying, and the volume is not there, the bottom wicks are not there, then that tells me that the sellers are absorbing for the shift lower. Because right now we're seeking demand. We're seeking demand here by dropping. How low can buyers? Period. And I always go back to the Walmart shelf inventory widget metaphor. If Walmart has a widget on the shelf that's not selling, it has to continue to lower the price until we start to see, holy crap, everyone's rushing through the doors to buy this product. And then once that happens, they start to raise the price until the buying stops. It's the same exact thing in the market. So the price action is going to continue to drop until we have a large inventory of buyers, which results on the charts with a volume spike and a bottom wick. And once I see that, you start to enter long. But not until then. Price discovery, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stop thinking about the markets in terms of candles and think about it in terms of order flow. It'll help you cage your expectations. I'm locking my trade of 8 and getting back to my day job. Y'all be doing something. Y'all at your room. Be safe. 3 CDs, baby. That's right, dude. Have a good rest of the day, buddy. Good rest of the day. Routine. I like to think of the market of billions of little pixels that live in the screen that still deliver money back to Skynet and headquarters. I mean, that's probably pretty close to being accurate. So. My buddy said he can enter some puts so the market can go higher for us. I'll have banking portal service. unfortunately, many retail traders think like that. The average retail trader thinks like that. A very common comment you see across the internet. And it's because, I've said this before, reactionary trading. Traders typically don't know what they're doing, or they don't know what to do in a given environment, so they reactionary trade. They see red, they short. They see long, they see green, they long. And they end up they get trapped up in the sweeps. When you get trapped up in the sweeps, you end up shorting lows and buying highs. And this is no bueno. Another top look back over, that's an SR flip right there. Another retest of an opening range low of 28,300. Top look back over. How do you set stops on these?
Got one more entry. We got it right at the value area.
Structure.
Last one today.
Your entry, it depends. The quality of your entry will affect the outcome of your stop loss. If you have a really crappy entry, you don't have the luxury.
Valued up the value.
Stop. You have to set a bar stop.
Come back down.
Unless you're trading on profits, which I never encourage. So the quality of your entry affects your stop loss. If you get a fantastic long entry, like tip the bottom, then you need to give yourself a good wide berth, because it's not often the market hands you a fantastic entry. And if you have a fantastic, you probably don't need a wide stop. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Get there.
But if you are going to touch NASDAQ is a beast of a product. You're going to touch NASDAQ. You got to be willing to take 40 to 50 points on a stop. If you're getting 20 points, 15 points on the stop, you're going to get stopped out every single trade. It's the way it is. Fourth is fine when the market's trending, but the market is typically going to trend about 20 bucks at the time. Yeah. Especially the past 2 months. And that touches you right. I think prop firms have desensitized us to the monstrosity of NASDAQ. I don't trade NASDAQ that much on my personal brokerage account. I trade a lot of ES. I do trade it on there, but I'm only trading micros on my personal account with NASDAQ. Every now and then I'm dipping into like one mini, but it's a piece of the product. Yeah, when you can sling 5 mini with a 2K drawdown, it's obscene. That's obscene. That's 20 points. Is that 40, 50 point stop for micros as well? Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, it's NASDAQ is one of those where you should only trade it when you have a high confidence position, high confidence setup. That's it. I think a lot of traders can do well for themselves if they move away from exclusively trading NASDAQ. Not trading NASDAQ, but don't exclusively trade NASDAQ. Learn to trade it when it's pumping, and learn to switch it to something else when it's back and forth. Biggest I ever did was 6 NASDAQ when it got to pants every 2 seconds because it's not like that. Yeah, I did 15 minis on silver back in January. That is like, you want to talk about Taco Bell lettuce? Ooh. I did not care for that. $10 points and $200 on a mini on a regular two. Yeah, that's wild though. Wow. How big were the fluctuations on P&L? 6 figures. It was crazy. It took me, a month and a half to make $180,000 on Top Step. And then I was like, all right, I've taken out a bunch of money. I'm going to see how much I can get out of this account. So I started slinging massive positions out there on silver. It was ridiculous. You should have copy traded. I won a lot of them, Logan, but eventually it got me in the end. I knew eventually it would get me. But I was actually able to last a couple of weeks doing that. But eventually it did get. Come on now, don't bounce it before the monthly lows. I wanted that monthly low bounce. I knew I was likely with a big fan. Yeah. You know you're too big on a position size when you enter and you immediately regret it. The second you hit order filled and you immediately regret it, yeah, it's inside down. How's the hero? Right now the hero is it's been a little neutral. we're only talking about a couple of $100 million with the Dell notional, which is not much. At the moment, we have 840 million of calls purchased and 380 of puts sold. And now we're put on a pretty healthy bounce. That is a 100-point bounce on NASDAQ off of a high volume spike, mind you. That is a 3C trigger. It's just it didn't give it didn't come down to where I wanted it to go. Stupid market to do what I wanted it to do. But that is a 3C long trigger. After 304, 28,355. One thing that helped me with my stops was to pay attention to the average range of the bars. For instance, on NASDAQ is 48 points. It's kind of like, hey, that's fantastic, Bojo. That's extraordinary. Nice, trippy life. Well done, buddy. Well done. High volume spike there at the 939 after the brief slower. Gathered an accumulation. Higher high there at 304. And up and away. Who had Taco Bell last? The bingo card. Yeah, from draft. Apparently 1,600 people got infected with that thing, and every one of them had Taco Bell. Every one of them had Taco Bell. Right here. Yeah, I think with Mojo's that it's fantastic. I think that needs to be something that most people really consider. I've always found a way because volatility environments, you need to adjust your stops based on the volatility environment. And looking at the average range handled fantastic way to do it. I appreciate that comment. Right. What are your thoughts on ES minis versus micros? So the moves a little less on video for ES. Well, it depends on account size. If you're creating a $50,000 TPT account, I don't recommend using a mini. It's just one wrong move and you're going to smoke your account, and you're going to have a wrong move eventually, and everyone takes losses, right? So you take a loss and that's it. You're done. The account's gone. So you have to inch your way up when you're dealing with smaller accounts. If you want to trade 1 million on the S&P, then at least go to the 150K account. Use the 150K if you want to do that. Look at that. I'm in it for the long haul, man. Like right now, this right here to me, what I'm doing with Take Profit Trader, the number one reason I take things slow. I'm not looking for the single massive payout. And it took me what? Almost 2 weeks. I passed these 5 accounts. And now I'm grinding these things up. I'm just grinding them up. Couple $100 here, $1,000 there, $50 here. And I'm able to take consistent, healthy payouts across 5 accounts. That to me that's where I get my endorphin hit. That's where I get the joy of my system working. But so I don't care about this. Now my personal account, I'll use some minis. That's the difference because I know my risk. I know my personal rules on my personal account. But as my buffer gets bigger, I'll use minis, and that's okay. But if you've only got a $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 buffer, I mean, a couple of losing mini trades and you're done. You're done. Right there. I'm long NASDAQ 263, expecting a sharp pullback to the upside. You're expecting a pullback to the upside? Interesting terms. What happened to your old TPT accounts? Yeah, they wrecked them. They wrecked them. It was the 5 I just bought for evals. And they wrecked them. I talked to the, I guess whatever their reviewing team, and they're like, yeah, it's obvious that you put on a trade, we can't do anything about it. I think that sucks. You know what was dumb though? I was copy trading 5 evals to pass them, and I had one eval that it's already hit the profit target, so I was literally just like doing a check the box trade, and that was the trade that triggered the the counter trading rule. So it was literally a meaningless trade that triggered the rule. So it's aggravating. Still going NASDAQ, beautiful bounce with 3 C's, high volume. Back and forth. Back and forth. How's the copy trade with TPD? It depends on what you're using. I use Quantower's built-in copy trading. It works pretty well. Sometimes there's a glitch, but it worked pretty well. I don't do a lot of trading though, so it doesn't affect me very much, all the glitchiness. But yeah, they are, JJ. Did you get flagged for counter trading while copy trading again? It did get me, yeah, but it wasn't because of a glitch on the software. I actually did it. I just didn't mean to do it. You know, it was inadvertent, but still, regardless. All right, NASDAQ bounce with volume. We didn't quite get down to my target, but they did give us a 3C trigger on the long side. If you look at the 5-minute, we have volume, we have bottom wick, we have close over 306. And now it's leading into 404, 425. We have call buying, put selling, we have up, and away. All bullish across the board here. We have massive liquidity to the upside in 74.60 on the S&P. I'm only buying TLT these levels, nothing else until 90. Nice. Nice. I've already allocated completely into TLT, so I'm not adding any more to that trade. That will be a prolonged hold for a long time. Massive green, baby. Massive green. Call buying out the yazoo. 1.1 billion in calls, 800 million in puts sold. Up and away. What's up, Salim? How you doing? Yeah, it does stink right around. It is what it is. That's the first time that's happened though, so it's all right. No big deal. I'll be more careful next time. ES took out high of the day up here. I'm going to play around with the 3 C's overnight. What's the best time overnight with volume to do this on? In my opinion, the London Open is the best time to trade overnight. If you want the most volatility and the most volume, that's the time to do it. Some people like the Asian Open. I personally don't like the Asian Open. It's hit or miss. But yeah, London Open is the best time to do that. 28,416. That's a high volume bounce. 306 trigger. Coming up again at 430. Looking for the high right here at 450. Beautiful bounce. Gonna take the green day and enjoy my weekend. Nice, J-Dog. A fantastic idea, buddy. Have a good day today. Had a good day today on the evals, knocking it out. Nice, Walker. Have a good day, buddy. See you back on Monday. See you back on Monday. Fantastic. Massive bounce. ES is breaking out high of the day. We have aggressive call buying and put selling. that started the accumulation there. We had liquidity higher on Bookmap. Do I have a price target on SPCX? I don't. I have a price that I want. I want under 70, but I don't think it'll get down there. I think we'll get 100 at least. I do think we'll get 100 because every month from here until January 2027 unlocks a new gate of selling. The institutional holders are able to start selling every month starting from now until January 27. So I do think there's going to be some selling. I do think we'll see sub 100. I don't know if we'll get under 70. If we do, I will buy the crap out of it and hold it forever. But that'll be a long-term investment hold. That will not be a day trade or a scalp or a swing trade. Big green candles coming up, baby, all the way up, new high. Up and away. Up and away. Lock it. 1.4 billion calls, 1.2 billion puts sold. Liquidity higher, 3C bounce. Extraordinarily bullish. Extraordinary bullish. Just price action, or was there a key level? On what? On NASDAQ or on the SpaceX talk we just had? ES breakout. Let's take a look. So ES did the same bottom wick there. Their trigger was at 74.43, and they just took out their morning high of 74.58. So that is a bullish breakout there. If it comes back down and bounces off the morning high of 58, that is a technical trend up day, which is a very quick change in what we just saw 10 minutes ago. If they take out the overnight high of 70, then man, it's going to be spicy. They could squeeze the weekend. So here's another test. Now, using the opening range, a breach above and then a defense of 74.58 is a good scalp long position. So watch that area of 74.58 on the S&P. NASDAQ is not anywhere close to taking out their high of the day. Massive discrepancy between the two. Have I already started a position on SpaceX? No, I have not. No, I have not. I'm waiting as long as I can to start entering dollar cost averaging into SpaceX, which will most likely be sometime fall. It depends on how far they go. I don't know. If we have a market-wide correction this fall and everything starts to fall, including SpaceX, I mean, we could see sub 100 pretty quick. So once we go under a sub 100, I'll start to dollar cost average in small chunks. I won't go full in, but I'll start to dollar cost average in small chunks.